Hello students, good morning. So today we are dealing with one more new unit. Okay, so within the unit we are going to start with the chapter named Microbes in Human Welfare. We all know microbes, it may be some bacterias, okay, like it may be some bacteria. We have studied both rod shaped and spherical. Based on the shapes we have studied the types of bacteria, and it may be some kind of viruses or fungus. Okay, all these constitute under the microbes, and we know already some of the harmful effects of microbes. Whenever we think of microorganisms or microbes such as bacteria and virus, we think about they are harmful. Okay, like the one which cause the infections or diseases. Yes, there are some microbes which cause the diseases or infections. Such microbes we call it as pathogens. Okay, but not all the microbes are meant to cause the diseases. Some microbes are very useful for human welfare. So hence in this chapter, how the microbes are useful for the human welfare, we are going to study one by one. Okay, so topics to be discussed in this chapter, so that is all the uses of the microbes in the different what phenomenon, or with the different headings we are going to study, like uses of microbes in household products, day to day activity, day to day products, how the microbes are used in industries, how they are used for the treatment of sewage, okay, for the production of biogas. Microbes used as a biocontrol agents, and some microbes also used as a biofertilizers. Okay, we are going to study one by one how these microbes are useful for human welfare. Okay, so first we'll start with the microbes in household products. Okay, there are few household products where the microbes play an important role for the production of those products. So the first bacteria or a microbe called as lactobacillus. Okay, bacillus, it indicates a rod shaped bacteria, or these bacteria are also called as lactic acid bacteria, means the bacteria which produces lactic acid. Okay, so how they are going to used in household products. So the first example is production of milk, curd, sorry. Okay, what happens, this lactobacillus converts milk into curd by producing lactic acids within that. Okay, what happens, this acids coagulate and partially digest the milk proteins, hence the milk is get converted into curd. Okay, so next, fresh milk can be converted to curd by adding some curd containing lab. It is also increases vitamin B12. So in stomach, lab helps to check the pathogens. So like this, this lactobacillus will be used for one of the household products, and other bacterias are like some bacterias we call it as anaerobic bacterias. Okay, by the name that is anaerobic, aerobic, already we have studied in our previous standards, that is under the chapter respiration. Anaerobic respiration means without the presence of oxygen, aerobic respiration with the presence of oxygen. There are some bacteria which are called as both aerobic and anaerobic. So here fermentation always takes place without the oxygen, without the help of the oxygen. Such reactions we call it as anaerobic reactions. The respiration called as anaerobic respiration. This we call it as bacterial fermentation. Few bacteria which are present in dough. Okay, the batter of idli or dosa, what happens if we keep one day before, okay, the batter, so the next day the batter will be increases in its mass, right? Why? Because of they ferment, the bacteria will ferment, and sometimes the end product will be always kind of carbon dioxide. Because they release carbon dioxide, that fluffiness will come to the dough. Okay, same for the here you can see the different examples of the products. Okay, and puffed up appearance of dough is due to the production of, just now I have told why they are like fluffy or increased in their mass. Okay, because of the presence of CO2 gas, which is produced by the after the reaction of our bacterial fermentation. So the next, some baker's yeast. Okay, it is also called as Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Okay, so this names of a few bacteria or some microbes you need to remember compulsory. They may ask it for 1 marks. Okay, so even it is useful for CET and NEET questions also. What baker's yeast is scientifically called as, its scientific name? Yes, Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Okay, it is used to make bread by fermenting dough. So this we already know. Hence it is called as baker's yeast. Where they used in bakeries for to produce the bakery products. So the next is preparation of toddy. Okay, so in this figure here you can see from where, like from palms trees, what they do, they collect the fermented liquid or sap. That sap we call it as toddy. It is a kind of alcoholic in nature. Not only this fermenting sap is produced or they are collected. In some regions what they do, they ferment the fish also, sometimes the bamboo shoots, sometimes the soya beans. Okay, the fermented thing include what? One is carbon dioxide or alcohol. Okay, this you remember. Next household products are cheese. Okay, here we are going to study two kinds of cheese, that is one Swiss cheese and a Roquefort cheese. Okay, this is the Swiss cheese and this is Roquefort cheese. Swiss cheese we already know. Okay, if you are good at watching cartoons, that Tom and Jerry cartoons, you have seen multiple times. Okay, this Swiss cheese, so it has a large holes. Due to the holes you can see here, these holes are because of the production of CO2 gas produced by a bacteria called Propionibacterium shermani. Okay, this is important, you need to remember. Which bacteria causes the large holes in Swiss cheese? Bacterium called Propionibacterium shermani. Okay, so this is one of the bacteria. And how this Roquefort cheese, why the Roquefort name came from? Because they contain this black thing. You can see here the black spots or the content. This is all the fungus. Okay, a kind of fungus they grow within the cheese. Okay, where the cheese get ripened using this fungus. What is that fungus name called as? Penicillium roqueforti. Okay, because of this it is called as Roquefort cheese. Okay, remember the name of the product, the bacteria, like bacteria or yeast, any microbes name. Okay, remember. So next, microbes in industrial products. So far we have finished the household products. So ಯಾವ household products ನಾವು ಓದಿದ್ದೀವಿ? ಒಂದು ಕರ್ಡ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಟೋಬ್ಯಾಸಿಲಸ್ ಇಂದ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ಟೀರಿಯಲ್ ಫರ್ಮೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಬೇಕರ್ಸ್ ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಯಾಕ್ರೋಮೈಸಿಸ್ ಸರ್ವೇಶಿಯಾ. ಓಕೆ, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅ ಟಾಡಿ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ಸನ್ನು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಫರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಫರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆ ಫರ್ಮೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಸಲ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಕೂಡ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಆ್ಯಸ್ ಅ ಬೈ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ ಸಮ್ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ಕೋಹಾಲ್. Okay, and another is making cheese. Two kinds of cheese they had given for example, for your exam purpose. One is Swiss cheese. Okay, Propionibacterium shermani. Yes, so these are the different what products as well as the microbes name. It is very important to remember. Okay, exam point of view. So next is in the industrial products. So in this industrial products we are going to study production of like some antibiotics, ಬೆವ್ರೇಜಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಆಲ್ಕೋಹಾಲ್ಸ್, ವೈನ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ಸ್ನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕಲಿತೀವಿ, enzymes, and how they are useful in the human welfare for the humans. Okay, so the first one, for the preparation of beverages, so the industries contain large tanks. These are tanks, nothing but fermenters, where the fermentation takes place. Anaerobic respiration ಏನಂತೀವಿ ನಾವು ಫರ್ಮೆಂಟೇಷನನ್ನು, ಆ ಫರ್ಮೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಆಗುವಂಥ ಟ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ಗಳಿವು ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರೀಸಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು. So what they do in a larger scale, what they produce, beverages as well as antibiotics. Because of they produce in a large amount, they need a huge fermenters in their industries. So these are few examples for the fermenters in the industries. So how they do for fermentation, what they use. Okay, for the beverages products, sometimes they use yeast. Yeast is the microbe which is used, and we know this yeast is also called as baker's yeast, which is used in bakeries, and brewer's yeast, which is used in the production of ಬೆವರೇಜಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ, ಬೆವರೇಜಸ್ನ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಈ ಈಸ್ಟನ್ನು ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಕಾಮನ್ಲಿ, ಬ್ರೀವರ್ಸ್ ಈಸ್ಟ್. Okay, the same scientific name, that is Saccharomyces cerevisiae. If it is used in bakeries, that is called as baker's yeast. Why? Because of when they start fermenting the malted cereals ಅಂದರೆ ಮೊಳಕೆ ಬಂದಿರುವಂಥ ಕಾಳುಗಳು. Okay, malted means ಮೊಳಕೆ ಹೊಡೆದಿರುವಂಥ ಕಾಳುಗಳು. So what they use, this malted cereals or sometimes fruit juices they use to produce what? Ethanol. What this cerevisiae yeast, brewer's yeast does, they feed on this malted cereals and fruit juices, and as a product they produce ethanol. Okay, after the several distillation, this ethanol is distilled, filtered many times, and after that they'll get the product. Okay, whiskey, brandy, these all are like beverages, and without a distillation they'll get wine and beer. Okay, these all are the different kinds of beverages, fermented beverages, produced with the help of using the microbes. Which microbes? Yeast, a fungi, that is Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Okay, next, in the production of antibiotics, not only they produce ethanol, okay, some microbes, they have got the characteristics like in the next slide I'm going to explain you one antibiotic using an example. So antibiotics are what? They are the chemical substances, okay, produced by some microbes, and what they do, they fight against the diseases. They give immune response. Okay, they increase our immunity in our body also. Some kinds of lymphocytes, what they do is they produce antibodies which fight against the diseases, which keeps our immunity. In the same way, to produce such antibiotics, some microbes, they produce the antibiotics within themselves, and what they do in industries, they extract this antibiotics which is produced in the microbes. Those are called as antibiotics, and these antibiotics are used to treat some diseases named plague, whooping cough, diphtheria, leprosy, etc. Okay, here there is a one beautiful example of antibiotics called as penicillin, okay, which is first discovered by the scientist called as Alexander Fleming, and from which microbes he extracted this antibiotics. Okay, unknowingly what happens, he observed that some bacteria called as staphylococci would not grow around a mold growing in unwashed culture plates. So what happened, in a unwashed culture plates, we know usually when we doesn't wash any cultured plates, no, what happens, a fungus mold will be produced on the top of that. Okay, because what happens because of the presence of this Penicillium notatum mold. Hence, this bacteria would not grow on the unwashed culture plates. Because of this observation, what he has done, he extracted a chemical called penicillin from the mold Penicillium notatum, and he said, yes, such antibiotics, what it does, it inhibits the growth of disease causing microbes or bacteria. Okay, in the same way, the Ernst chain and Howard Florey established its fully potential as an effective antibiotic. Okay, basic work has done by Alexander Fleming, but the applied work on this penicillin antibiotic was done by Chain and Florey, a group of scientists, and later all these three scientists, Fleming, Chain and Florey, was awarded by the Nobel Prize for their work based on the penicillin antibiotic. Okay, next, in industrial products, what they use, they extract chemicals, enzymes, or some bioactive molecules which is used for certain applications. Okay, like these are the list of microbes which produces the organic acids. Okay, what are those organic acids and which are those microbes? So the first one is fungus, that is Aspergillus niger, which produces citric acid. You need to remember, this is very important, you need to remember the name of the microbe as well as the name of the organic acid which is produced. Okay, Aspergillus niger produces citric acid. Acetobacter acetate is a bacteria, produces acetic acid. Clostridium botulicum produces butyric acid. Lactobacillus, we know, we are familiar, lactic acid. So remember, Aspergillus niger, citric acid. Acetobacter acetate, acetic acid. Clostridium botulicum, butyric acid. Lactobacillus, lactic acid. So these are the different microbes and its respective organic acids produced. Next, enzymes. Okay, before going to exactly the enzymes, we know that this is the list. Okay, list of the microbes as well as its products and its uses. So alcohol is a chemical which is produced by, we know, yeast, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, and used to produce what? Which product? Ethanol. Okay, like this you need to remember the name of the chemical, the name of the microbe, and the name of the product or its a function or application. So next, the first, enzymes. Lipases are the enzymes which is extracted from some bacteria used in detergent formulation. Like in the laundry is what happens, stains, to remove the stains, they use this enzymes where we can remove easily the stains like oily stains, everything. Okay, the enzymes called as lipases. Next, the enzymes as pectinases and proteases used to, yes, clarify the bottled juices. Okay, to clarify, to clean the bottles before pouring the juice, the bottle will be sanitized, cleaned by using this enzymes, pectinases and proteases. Next enzyme is streptokinase. Okay, streptokinase is the enzyme produced by which bacteria? Streptococcus. What is the application of this streptokinase? Used as a clot buster. This is very important. Okay, in enzymes, what we have studied, one is lipase, oily stains in laundries like a detergent formulation. Along with the soap, they add this lipases also, which removes the oily stains in the laundries. Next is pectinases and proteases used to clarify the bottled juices. Next is streptokinase, which is the microbe here, streptococcus. And what is the function? Used as a clot buster. Like whenever there is a clot in a blood vessels, what happens? If there is a clot in a blood vessels in heart, Okay, it may be arteries, within the arteries. What happens if there is a clot, then the blood supply will be, yes, hindered, stopped, disconnected. So this what happens, insufficient oxygen supply, because blood carries oxygen. We know already, we have studied transport of oxygen through blood, okay, in breathing and exchange of gases chapter. So what happens if the heart doesn't get proper amount of oxygen, there will be death of muscles. This death of muscles or cells indicates heart attack, that is myocardial infarction. To avoid this myocardial infarction, what they do, if there is any clots found, they give the injection of streptokinase. Hence it used as a clot buster. It bursts the clot, removes the clot, and helps in the easy flow of blood within the arteries. Okay, so the next bioactive molecules here are, there are two bioactive molecules. Okay, one is a cyclosporin A, which is produced by a microbe called as, this is a kind of fungus, Trichoderma polysporum. And what is its application? It is used as the immunosuppressive agents. Whenever there is transplant, organ transplant, we know this organ transplants are not easy. Okay, because whenever there is any foreign material which enters in our body thinks as it is the foreign material, and our immune system starts working to, yes, remove, or they won't allow the body to keep such foreign materials. In such condition, no, some organs, if there is a heart transplantation or kidney transplantation, so it is taken from the other person, right? So what our body thinks, yeah, it is a foreign material. So before doing any organ transplants, any transplants to the patients, organ transplants, what the doctor does, they inject some immunosuppressive injections, agents. One of the agents are cyclosporin A. Because of this, what happens, our immune system will be suppressed for some while, for some time being. Hence they can perform the organ transplant easily. So remember the bioactive molecule name, cyclosporin A, and from which microbes they are produced, that is Trichoderma polysporum, and application is immunosuppressive agent. Okay, and the next bioactive molecules are statins, which is produced by yeast. It is also a kind of fungus here, Monascus purpureus. Okay, Monascus purpureus. What is the application? It is used as blood cholesterol lowering agent. Okay, so what happens, it inhibits the enzymes responsible for the synthesis of cholesterol. When there is a heavy blood cholesterol, okay, cholesterol in a bloodstream, so what happens, it narrows our arteries, which in turn cause cardiovascular diseases, which in turn increases our blood pressure. Okay, there are severe condition which is related one by one. So when they induce this statins in our body, what they do, they inhibit the enzymes which is responsible for the production of cholesterol. By inhibiting, they lower the blood cholesterol. Okay, so hence it is called as blood cholesterol lowering agent. Which one? Statins. Cyclosporin A is immunosuppressive agent, don't get confused. There it is Trichoderma polysporum, here it is Monascus purpureus. Okay, so these are the few bioactive molecules. Understood? Okay, thank you. So far we have finished many microbes along with its products and uses. Please try to make a list of it so that you can easily remember, because it is very important for the exam point of view, for both board as well as competitive exam. Okay, remember from the household products used, microbes in household products, as well as the usefulness of microbes in industrial products, starting from beverages at till the end, that is bioactive molecules. And the next we are going to start with microbes in sewage treatment. Thank you.